My father is Senator Richard Ashford. One text and you're done. Those are the words that 23-year-old Victoria Ashford speaks into the silent Providence Municipal Court. Her voice is loud. Her voice is clear. She means every word. Judge Frank Caprio sits at the bench. His reading glasses are perched on his nose. He looks at Victoria over those glasses. His face shows no emotion yet. But everyone in the courtroom can feel something building. Something big is coming. If you believe that justice should be equal for everyone, no matter who their parents are, you'll want to see what happens next. Because what Judge Caprio does in the next hour will change Victoria Ashford's life forever. Let me take you back to the beginning. Let me show you how we got here. It's a cold Tuesday morning in Providence. Case number 2025, TR 94612, is about to be called. The courtroom is filling up. People take their seats. The wooden benches creak under their weight. Lawyers shuffle papers. Court staff whisper to each other. A normal day. Or so everyone thinks. All rise, the bailiff calls out. Everyone stands. Judge Frank Caprio enters from his chambers. He's wearing his black robe. His gray hair is neatly combed. He's been a judge for over 30 years. He's seen everything. Or so he thinks. You may be seated, Judge Caprio says. People sit back down. The courtroom settles into quiet. The judge looks at his schedule. He picks up the first file. His face is calm. Professional. Kind even. That's what people love about Judge Caprio. He treats everyone with respect. Rich or poor. Young or old. Everyone gets the same fair treatment. Case 2025, TR 94612, the clerk calls out. The State versus Victoria Ashford. From the back of the courtroom, a woman stands up. Her name is Chen. She's 52 years old. She's wearing scrubs. Green medical scrubs with little hearts on them. She's a nurse at Rhode Island Hospital. She works in the emergency room. The ER. That's where the sickest people go. That's where people come when they're dying. Linda walks to the front of the courtroom. Her steps are slow. Tired. She works the night shift. She just got off work 2 hours ago. She didn't sleep. She came straight to court. She has to be back at the hospital tonight at 7 p.m. Another 12-hour shift. Another night of saving lives. Good morning, Ms. Chen, Judge Caprio says. His voice is warm. How are you today? I'm okay, Your Honor, Linda says. Her voice is quiet. Respectful. Thank you for asking. I see you're a nurse, the judge says. He's looking at her scrubs. You're a nurse, if I'm reading your intake form correctly? Yes, sir, Linda says. 15 years now. That's noble work, Judge Caprio says. Hard work, too. I imagine you see things most people couldn't handle. Linda nods. We do our best, Your Honor. I'm sure you do, the judge says. He looks at the file in front of him. Now, let's see what brings you to court today. You're here as a witness in a DUI case. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor, Linda says. I was driving home from work on New Year's morning. Around 2:30 a.m. I had just finished a terrible shift. We lost 3 patients that night. One was only 17 years old. Car accident. Drunk driver hit him. The courtroom is silent. People are listening. Really listening. I was stopped at a red light on Hope Street, Linda continues. Near the university. And this car came out of nowhere. A white Mercedes. It was weaving. Going so fast. It ran the red light. Missed me by maybe 3 feet. If I had been in the intersection, it would have hit me. Killed me, probably. Judge Caprio writes something down. Did you call the police? I did, Linda says. I followed the car for a few blocks. Kept a safe distance. I called 911. I gave them the license plate. The car pulled into a driveway about a mile away. Big house. Huge, actually. The police got there maybe 5 minutes later. Thank you for being a responsible citizen, Judge Caprio says. Most people would have just driven home. You potentially saved lives by making that call. I've seen too many people die from drunk drivers, Linda says. Her voice cracks a little. That 17-year-old boy. He had his whole life ahead of him. All gone because someone made a selfish choice. Please have a seat, Ms. Chen, the judge says. We'll need you to stay for testimony. Linda sits in the gallery. First row. She folds her hands in her lap. She looks tired. So tired. But she's here. She showed up. She's doing her civic duty. Will the defendant please approach, Judge Caprio says. The courtroom doors swing open. Every head turns. In walks Victoria Ashford. She's 23 years old. Tall. Blonde hair that falls in perfect waves past her shoulders. Hair that probably costs $500 every 6 weeks to maintain. She's wearing a white Chanel blazer. It's winter white, probably cashmere. Under it is a silk blouse. Champagne-colored. Her pants are designer too. Straight leg. Perfectly tailored. On her wrist is a Cartier bracelet. Gold with diamonds. It catches the light as she walks. On her feet are Christian Louboutin heels. Red bottoms. The kind that cost $800 a pair. She's carrying a Birkin bag. A real one, not a fake. Those bags start at $10,000. Some cost $100,000 or more. You can't just buy them. You have to get on a waiting list. You have to be somebody. Or know somebody. Victoria walks to the front of the courtroom. But she doesn't look at the judge. She's looking at her phone. Her thumb is moving. She's texting someone. Her face shows no emotion. No nervousness. No respect. Nothing. Ms. Ashford, Judge Caprio says. His voice is still professional. Still calm. Please put your phone away and approach the bench. Victoria doesn't look up. She keeps texting. Just 1 second, she says. Her voice is casual. Like she's talking to a servant. Like the judge can wait. A man in the gallery leans forward. He whispers to the woman next to him. Did she just tell the judge to wait? Judge Caprio waits. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 15 seconds. The whole courtroom watches. Waiting. The tension builds. Finally, Victoria slides her phone into her Birkin bag. She walks up to the defendant's table. But she doesn't sit down. She stands there. One hip cocked to the side. Her weight on one leg. The posture of someone who's bored. Someone who has better places to be. Ms. Ashford, please have a seat, Judge Caprio says. Victoria sighs. Actually sighs. Like this is such an inconvenience. She sits down. She crosses her legs. She looks at her nails. They're perfect. French manicure. Probably done yesterday. Next to her sits her lawyer. His name is Richard Brennan. Expensive suit. Rolex watch. Leather briefcase that costs more than most people's monthly rent. He's a high-powered defense attorney. The kind that gets rich people out of trouble. The kind that costs $700 an hour. Good morning, Ms. Ashford, Judge Caprio says. Do you understand why you're here today? Victoria looks up. Finally makes eye contact with the judge. Some misunderstanding about New Year's Eve, she says. Her voice is light. Dismissive. I'm sure we can clear this up quickly. I have brunch at noon. Judge Caprio's eyebrows raise slightly. Just slightly. A misunderstanding, he repeats. Let me read the charges. Driving under the influence. Reckless driving. Running a red light. Refusing a breathalyzer test. Attempting to leave the scene. Resisting arrest. And obstruction of justice. He looks up from the paper. That's quite a list of misunderstandings. I wasn't drunk, Victoria says. She uncrosses her legs and recrosses them the other way. I had like 2 drinks. Maybe 3. I was totally fine. 2 or 3 drinks, Judge Caprio says. And you're 23 years old, so any amount of alcohol is illegal for you while driving in certain circumstances, but let's put that aside. Officer Ramirez, please approach. A police officer stands up from a gallery. His name is Carlos Ramirez. He's been on the force for 8 years. He walks to the front. He's carrying a folder. It's thick. Lots of papers inside. Officer Ramirez, Judge Caprio says. Can you tell us what happened on New Year's morning? Yes, Your Honor, Officer Ramirez says. He opens his folder. At approximately 2:47 a.m., I received a call from dispatch. A witness reported a white Mercedes E-Class weaving through traffic, running red lights, driving at high speed through residential areas. The witness provided a license plate number. I located the vehicle in the driveway of 847 Blackstone Boulevard. The engine was still running. The car was warm. The driver was attempting to enter the residence. That would be Ms. Ashford, the judge asks. Yes, sir, Officer Ramirez says. I approached the defendant. I identified myself as a police officer. I could immediately smell alcohol. Strong smell. Her eyes were bloodshot. Her speech was slurred. She was unsteady on her feet. I asked her if she had been driving. She said, and I quote, obviously. How else would I get home? A few people in the gallery gasp. Victoria rolls her eyes. I informed her that I needed her to perform a field sobriety test, Officer Ramirez continues. She refused. She said, I'm not doing your little games. I then informed her that I would need her to take a breathalyzer test. She refused that too. She said, "I'm not blowing into anything." Those are serious refusals, Judge Caprio says. What happened next? I informed Ms. Ashford that she was under arrest for DUI, Officer Ramirez says. That's when things escalated. She pulled out her phone. She said, "My father is Senator Richard Ashford. You're making a huge mistake." She tried to walk into her house. I told her she needed to come with me. She refused. She tried to push past me. That's when I had to place her in handcuffs. Did she resist? The judge asks. "Yes, Your Honor," Officer Ramirez says. She pulled away. She yelled. She said, and I'm reading from my notes here, "You can't arrest me. Do you know who I am? My father will have your badge. You'll be working mall security by tomorrow." The courtroom erupts in whispers. People are talking to each other, shaking their heads. Judge Caprio doesn't stop them. Not yet. Victoria shifts in her seat. For the first time, she looks a tiny bit uncomfortable. But only a tiny bit. "Ms. Ashford," Judge Caprio says, "is this account accurate?" Victoria's lawyer leans over. He whispers something in her ear. She waves him away. "I was upset," she says. "Wouldn't you be? Some cop is harassing you at 3 a.m. I had every right to be upset." "Harassing," Judge Caprio repeats. "Is that what you call a police officer doing his job after you endangered lives by driving drunk?" "I wasn't drunk," Victoria says again. Her voice is rising now, getting defensive. "And even if I was like a little tipsy, so what? It was New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks on New Year's. It's literally what you do." Judge Caprio takes off his glasses. He sets them on the bench. He looks at Victoria. Really looks at her. "Ms. Ashford, do you understand the severity of what you've been charged with?" "It's my first offense," Victoria says. She waves her hand. Dismissive. "My lawyer says first offenses usually get thrown out. Community service or something. Whatever. I'll pay the fine. Can we wrap this up? I really do have plans." Her lawyer's face goes pale. He closes his eyes. He's shaking his head slightly. He knows. He knows she just made things so much worse. Judge Caprio is silent for a moment. He puts his glasses back on. "Officer Ramirez, is there anything else?" "Yes, Your Honor," Officer Ramirez says. He pulls out more papers. While Ms. Ashford was in custody, she made multiple phone calls. She called her father. She called someone named Uncle Tom. She called someone she referred to as Dad's attorney. In each call, she demanded that they fix this and make it go away. She specifically said, and I have the recording, "Daddy, this cop is being so mean to me. Can you do something? Can you call the chief or the mayor or somebody?" You recorded her phone calls. Victoria snaps. She's sitting up straight now. Angry. "That's illegal. That's a violation of my privacy. All calls made from police custody are recorded," Judge Caprio explains. His voice is patient, like he's teaching a child. "There's a warning that says so before each call. You agreed to it." "Whatever," Victoria mutters. She slouches back in her chair. This is such a waste of time. Judge Caprio looks at the prosecutor. "Do you have the blood test results?" She refused the breathalyzer, "But I see you got a warrant for blood." "Yes, Your Honor," the prosecutor says. She stands up. Her name is Angela Morrison. She's been a prosecutor for 12 years. She's seen a lot of entitled defendants. But something about this case has gotten under her skin. The blood was drawn at 4:15 a.m. That's about 90 minutes after the initial stop. Her blood alcohol content was 0.14. That's nearly twice the legal limit. And that's 90 minutes after she stopped drinking. It would have been even higher when she was actually driving. Victoria's face goes red. "That test is wrong," she says. "I want a retest. I want my own doctor to do it." The test was conducted by a certified phlebotomist at Rhode Island Hospital, the prosecutor says. The same hospital where Ms. Chen works, actually. The chain of custody is documented. The test is valid. "Of course it's Rhode Island Hospital," Victoria says. She laughs. It's a mean laugh. Mocking. Probably some nurse who hates people with money. Probably messed with the test on purpose. Linda Chen, sitting in the gallery, flinches. Like she's been slapped. Her hands grip the edge of the bench. A woman sitting next to her puts a hand on Linda's shoulder. Comfort. Support. Judge Caprio sees this. He sees everything. "Ms. Ashford," he says. His voice is harder now. Sharper. "You need to watch what you say in my courtroom." "Why?" Victoria asks. She's looking at the judge now. Direct eye contact. Challenging. It's true. People in service jobs, they resent people like me. People who are successful. They probably love getting to mess with us. Makes them feel powerful for once in their sad little lives. The courtroom goes completely silent. Someone's phone buzzes. It sounds loud in the quiet. No one moves. Judge Caprio's jaw tightens. People in service jobs, he repeats. Like nurses. Like police officers. Like teachers. Like the people who keep our society running. Is that who you're talking about? I'm just saying, Victoria says. She shrugs. Some people are born to lead. Some people are born to serve. That's just how it is. My family has been in politics for 3 generations. We're leaders. We make the decisions. Other people, they follow the rules we make. That's the system. Richard Brennan, her lawyer, looks like he wants to disappear. He's trying to interrupt. Your Honor, if I may. No, Judge Caprio says. He holds up his hand. I want to hear what Ms. Ashford has to say. Please continue. Tell us more about this system. Victoria doesn't catch the danger in his voice. She thinks she's winning. She sits up straighter. More confident. Look, she says. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest. My father is Senator Richard Ashford. He's on the Judiciary Committee. He helps decide funding for courts, for police departments, for basically everything. People in this building, they have jobs because of people like my father, because of people like me. So maybe, just maybe, we should all remember that before we start throwing around charges and acting like I'm some kind of criminal. Officer Ramirez shifts his weight. His hand moves to his belt, not to his weapon. Just a movement, a way to keep himself calm. Professional. So you think your father's position means you're above the law, Judge Caprio says. It's not a question. It's a statement. I think my father's position means people should think twice before they try to ruin my life over something so stupid, Victoria says. It was New Year's Eve. I had a few drinks. I drove home. I made it home safe. Nobody got hurt. What's the big deal? Nobody got hurt, Judge Caprio repeats. Miss Chen, would you stand up, please? Linda Chen stands up. She's shaking a little. Not from fear. From emotion. Ms. Chen is a nurse, Judge Caprio says. She was driving home from a shift where she watched 3 people die. One was a 17-year-old boy, killed by a drunk driver. She was stopped at a red light, minding her own business, following the law, and you nearly killed her. You ran that red light at high speed. You missed her by 3 feet. 3 feet. Do you understand what that means? Victoria looks at Linda, really looks at her for the first time. For a second, just a second, something flickers in Victoria's eyes. Maybe guilt. Maybe recognition that Linda is a real person. But it's gone fast. But I didn't hit her, Victoria says. So like I said, nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt, Judge Caprio says again. His voice is rising now. You ran a red light while drunk. You could have killed her. You could have killed anyone. And your response is nobody got hurt, and what's the big deal? I'm sorry, Victoria says. But she doesn't sound sorry. She sounds annoyed. I'm sorry I didn't hit her. Is that what you want me to say? I'm sorry I made it home safe. The gallery erupts. People are shouting. Are you serious? Someone yells. Who raised you? Another person shouts. The bailiff steps forward. Order, he says. Order in the court. Judge Caprio bangs his gavel. Once. Twice. The room quiets down. But slowly. People are angry. Really angry. Victoria's phone buzzes in her Birkin bag. She looks at it. The phone is visible through the open top of the bag. The screen is lit up. A text message. From Dad. Judge Caprio sees it too. Ms. Ashford, he says. Is that your phone? Yeah, Victoria says. So. I told you to put it away, Judge Caprio says. It's in my bag, Victoria says. I'm not using it. You're looking at it right now, Judge Caprio says. I'm just checking to see who texted me, Victoria says. It's my dad. He's worried about me. Is that a crime too? In my courtroom, when I tell you to put your phone away, that means away, Judge Caprio says. Not in your bag where you can see it. Away. Off. Out of sight. Victoria rolls her eyes. Again. Fine. She reaches into her bag. But instead of turning the phone off, she types something. Fast. Her thumbs moving over the screen. Then she drops the phone back in the bag. Happy now? Judge Caprio's eyes narrow. What did you just do? Nothing, Victoria says. I just told my dad I'd call him later. You texted during court, Judge Caprio says, after I explicitly told you not to. It was one text, Victoria says. Her voice is whiny now, like a teenager being scolded. God, you're being so uptight about this. It's not that serious. Judge Caprio takes a deep breath. He's been a judge for over 30 years. He's dealt with thousands of defendants. He's seen arrogance. He's seen entitlement. But this is something else. Bailiff, Judge Caprio says, please retrieve Ms. Ashford's phone. What? Victoria clutches her Birkin bag to her chest. No, you can't take my phone. That's my property. You used it in court after being told not to, Judge Caprio says. I have the right to examine what you texted. Bailiff. The bailiff approaches. He's a big man, 6'3", former Marine. He extends his hand. Your phone, ma'am. This is insane, Victoria says, but she hands over the bag. The bailiff reaches in. He pulls out the phone. It's an iPhone, the newest model. The Pro Max, probably $1,500. He hands it to Judge Caprio. Judge Caprio looks at the screen. The text message is still open. He reads it. His face doesn't change. But everyone in the courtroom can see his knuckles go white. He's gripping the phone tightly. Ms. Ashford, he says. His voice is very quiet now. Dangerously quiet. What is your passcode? I'm not giving you that, Victoria says. That's private. I can hold you in contempt, Judge Caprio says. I can have you sit in a cell until you cooperate. Your choice. Victoria looks at her lawyer. He nods. He's given up trying to save her from herself. 5555, Victoria mutters. Judge Caprio unlocks the phone. He navigates to messages. He finds the text she just sent. He reads it out loud. His voice echoes through the silent courtroom. Dad, this judge is being such a jerk. He's trying to make an example of me. Can you call Uncle Tom at the courthouse? Or maybe call Judge Morrison. This guy needs to know who he's dealing with. Love you. The courtroom explodes. People are standing up, shouting. Unbelievable, someone yells. She's trying to intimidate the judge, another voice calls out. Judge Caprio bangs his gavel. Hard. Multiple times. Order. Order in this court. The room goes quiet, but the anger is still there. Simmering. Boiling. Judge Caprio sets the phone down. He looks at Victoria. She's not looking back. She's staring at the table. For the first time, she looks worried. Ms. Ashford, Judge Caprio says, you just attempted to influence this court proceeding. You tried to get your father to pressure me, to intimidate me. Do you understand what you've done? I was just texting my dad, Victoria says. Her voice is smaller now. I'm allowed to talk to my family. Not to interfere with court proceedings, Judge Caprio says. Not to try to corrupt the judicial process. Corrupt. Victoria's voice rises again. Defensive. Angry. You're the one who took my phone. You're the one reading my private messages. That's corrupt. Your Honor, Richard Brennan finally speaks. He stands up. May I have a moment with my client? No, Judge Caprio says. Sit down, counselor. Your client has said plenty. Now it's time for me to speak. Richard Brennan sits. He looks defeated. He knows. He knows his client is going down, and there's nothing he can do about it. Judge Caprio stands up. He's not a tall man. Maybe 5'8", but right now he seems 10 feet tall. He has presence, authority, power. I've been a judge for 32 years, he begins. I've seen thousands of cases, thousands of defendants, rich ones, poor ones, young ones, old ones. I've seen people who made mistakes, good people who had bad days, people who deserve second chances, people who learn from their errors. He pauses. He walks to the front of the bench, closer to Victoria. And then there are people like you, Victoria, he continues. People who think the rules don't apply to them. People who think money and connections put them above the law. People who have no respect for anyone who isn't in their social class. People who look at a nurse who saves lives and call her job sad and little. People who almost kill someone while driving drunk and say, what's the big deal? People who try to intimidate a judge during court proceedings. Victoria is looking down. Her hair falls forward, hiding her face. Look at me, Judge Caprio demands. Look at me, Victoria. She looks up. Her eyes are red. She's not crying. Not yet. But she's close. Do you know what Linda Chen was doing while you were out partying on New Year's Eve? Judge Caprio asks. She was trying to save a 17-year-old boy's life. A boy named Marcus Thompson. He was a senior in high school. He had a full scholarship to Brown University. He was going to study medicine. He wanted to be a doctor. Do you know why? Because when he was 10 years old, a nurse saved his mother's life after a car accident. He wanted to give back. He wanted to help people. Linda Chen is crying now. Silent tears running down her face. Marcus never made it to Brown, Judge Caprio continues. He never became a doctor. Because on New Year's Eve, while driving home from friend's house, a drunk driver ran a red light, hit Marcus's car at 70 miles an hour. Marcus died before the ambulance even arrived. Linda Chen was there. She tried to save him. She did CPR for 20 minutes. But it was too late. The damage was too severe. The courtroom is silent. You could hear a pin drop. That drunk driver, Judge Caprio says, was a lot like you, Victoria. He was 25 years old. He came from money. His father was a CEO. He'd been drinking at a party. He thought he was fine to drive. He thought rules didn't apply to him. And now Marcus Thompson is dead. His mother is heartbroken. His father can't sleep at night. His little sister cries herself to sleep. And that drunk driver is in prison for 15 years. Victoria's hands are shaking. She clasps them together. Hard. You could have been that driver, Judge Caprio says. You were going just as fast. You were just as drunk. You ran the same red light. The only difference between you and that killer is 3 feet. 3 feet of space between your car and Linda Chen's car. 3 feet between you being here today and Linda being dead. 3 feet between you facing DUI charges and you facing vehicular manslaughter. I didn't know, Victoria whispers. I didn't know about the boy. You didn't care, Judge Caprio corrects her. Even after Officer Ramirez arrested you. Even after you came to court. Even after you heard Linda's testimony. You still didn't care. You still said nobody got hurt. You still called service workers sad. You still tried to use your father's position to escape consequences. I'm sorry, Victoria says. Her voice cracks. I'm sorry, okay? I made a mistake. A mistake, Judge Caprio repeats. Forgetting someone's birthday is a mistake. Getting someone's coffee order wrong is a mistake. Driving drunk. Running red lights. Risking innocent lives. Disrespecting everyone in this courtroom. Trying to corrupt judicial proceedings. Those aren't mistakes, Victoria. Those are choices. Bad choices. Selfish choices. Dangerous choices. He walks back to the bench. He sits down. He picks up his gavel. Before I announce your sentence, he says, I want to ask you some questions. And I want honest answers. Not lawyer answers. Not what you think I want to hear answers. Honest answers. Can you do that? Victoria nods. Yes, Your Honor. Have you ever gone without a meal because you couldn't afford food? He asks. No, Victoria says quietly. Have you ever worked 2 jobs to make ends meet? No. Have you ever had to choose between paying rent or buying medicine? No. Have you ever wondered if you'd have a place to sleep at night? No. Have you ever been truly afraid for your life? Victoria pauses. No. Have you ever had to sacrifice something you wanted to help someone you loved? Another pause. Longer this time. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe, Judge Caprio repeats. Here's what I know, Victoria. You've lived a life of privilege. And there's nothing wrong with that. Being born into a wealthy family isn't a crime. Having opportunities isn't a crime. But what you do with that privilege, that's what matters. And you've done nothing. You've learned nothing. You've contributed nothing. You've just taken and taken and taken. And when you finally face consequences, you tried to use your privilege to escape them. He opens a folder, pulls out more papers. Your father is Senator Richard Ashford, he says. I know your father. I've met him several times. He's a decent man. A good man, even. He's worked hard. He's helped people. He's earned his position. And I guarantee you, Victoria, that he is ashamed of you right now. Ashamed of how you behaved. Ashamed of what you said. Ashamed that his daughter would try to use his name to corrupt a court proceeding. Don't talk about my father, Victoria says. Her voice has some fire back. You don't know anything about him. I know he called my office 4 times yesterday, Judge Caprio says. I know he begged my clerk to let him speak with me. I know he wanted to talk about your case. And I know I refused every call. Because in my courtroom, it doesn't matter who your father is. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter who you know. What matters is what you did. And what you did, Victoria, is endanger lives. disrespect heroes, and try to corrupt justice. He picks up his gavel. Stand up, Victoria Ashford. Victoria stands. She's unsteady. Her lawyer stands beside her. He puts a hand on her elbow, supporting her, or maybe just making sure she doesn't collapse. I'm now going to announce your sentence, Judge Caprio says. And I want you to listen carefully, because every part of the sentence is designed to teach you something, to show you what you've been too privileged to learn on your own, to give you the education your money couldn't buy. He looks down at his notes. He's written a lot, pages of notes. First, he begins, you are fined $18,500. That breaks down as follows: $5,000 for the DUI, $2,500 for reckless driving, $1,000 for running the red light, $5,000 for refusing the breathalyzer, $3,000 for resisting arrest, $2,000 for obstruction of justice. This fine is to be paid in full within 30 days. No payment plans. No extensions. Victoria barely reacts. $18,500 is nothing to her. Probably less than she spends on clothes in a month. Second, Judge Caprio continues. Your driver's license is suspended for 1 year. Effective immediately. You will not drive. You will not sit in the driver's seat of a car. You will not operate any motor vehicle. If you are caught driving, you will go to jail. No exceptions. Victoria's face pales. A year without driving. A year of depending on other people. On Uber. On drivers. On public transportation. That one hurts more than the fine. Third, Judge Caprio says, you will complete 300 hours of community service. 300 hours. That's more than 7 full weeks of work. That's enormous. Victoria's mouth opens. 300, she asks. That's insane. I'm not finished, Judge Caprio says. His voice is sharp. Those 300 hours will be served at Rhode Island Hospital, in the emergency room, under the supervision of Linda Chen. Linda Chen's head snaps up. She looks shocked, confused. She didn't expect this. You will report to the ER every Saturday and Sunday, Judge Caprio continues. From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's 8 hours per day. 16 hours per week. For 19 weeks. You will wear scrubs. You will clean. You will mop floors. You will empty trash. You will change bed sheets. You will help transport patients. You will do whatever Nurse Chen tells you to do. And you will do it with respect, with humility, with gratitude for the opportunity to learn what real work looks like. Victoria is shaking her head. I can't do that. I have things. I have plans. I have a life. You should have thought about that before you drove drunk, Judge Caprio says. You wanted to know what the big deal was. You're about to find out. You're going to spend 300 hours in that ER. You're going to see the victims of drunk drivers. You're going to see the pain, the blood, the tears, the broken families. You're going to meet people like Marcus Thompson, and you're going to understand finally what you almost did. No, Victoria says. She's standing up straighter now. Defiant. No, I'm not doing that. My lawyer will appeal this. This is cruel and unusual punishment. This is justice, Judge Caprio interrupts. And I'm still not finished. Victoria sits back down. She's breathing hard. Angry. Scared. Fourth, Judge Caprio says, you will write a 5,000-word essay. The topic is the value of service. You will research the careers of nurses, police officers, teachers, firefighters, and other service workers. You will interview at least 10 people in these professions. You will learn about their lives, their struggles, their sacrifices, and you will write in your own words why these jobs matter, why these people deserve respect. The essay will be handwritten, not typed. I want you to take the time to think about every word. You will submit this essay to me personally, and I will read every word. 5,000 words, Victoria mutters. Handwritten. That'll take forever. It'll take about 15 to 20 hours, Judge Caprio says, which is less time than Nurse Chen spends at work in 2 days. I think you can manage. He flips to another page. Fifth, he says, you will attend a victim impact panel. This is a program where victims of drunk driving tell their stories. You will sit. You will listen. You will not speak unless asked a direct question. You will hear from parents who lost children, from children who lost parents, from survivors who will never walk again, from families torn apart by one person's selfish decision. You will attend every month for the next year. 12 sessions total. Victoria is crying now. Real tears. Not manipulation. Not performance. Real emotion breaking through the privilege and arrogance. 6th, Judge Caprio continues. You are sentenced to 90 days in jail. The courtroom gasps. Victoria's head snaps up. Jail, she says. You can't send me to jail. You're what? Judge Caprio asks. Special? Above jail? Too good for jail? Let me tell you something, Victoria. I've sent mothers to jail. Single mothers who stole diapers for their babies. I've sent fathers to jail. Men who got caught with a joint in their pocket. I've sent 18-year-old kids to jail for mistakes far less serious than yours. So yes, I can send you to jail. And I am. Please, Victoria begs. Please, Your Honor. I can't go to jail. I'll lose my job. You don't have a job, Judge Caprio says. According to your intake form, you're unemployed. You list your occupation as socialite. You don't work. You don't contribute. You just spend your father's money. That's not fair, Victoria says. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm taking time to. You're taking time, Judge Caprio interrupts. Nurse Chen doesn't get to take time. She works 12-hour shifts. Night shifts. Holidays. Weekends. She doesn't get to figure out what she wants to do. She does what needs to be done. She saves lives. And you almost ended hers because you couldn't be bothered to call an Uber. Victoria is sobbing now. Her designer mascara is running down her face. Black streaks on her perfect skin. I'm sorry, she cries. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean any of this. I was just scared and I said stupid things and I didn't think. You didn't think, Judge Caprio says. That's exactly the problem, Victoria. You don't think. You've never had to. You've had people think for you. Make decisions for you. Clean up your messes. But not this time. This time, you're going to face real consequences. He looks at the bailiff. However, he says, I'm going to suspend 85 of those 90 days. Victoria's head snaps up. Hope in her eyes. Suspended. That means you don't have to serve them right now, Judge Caprio explains. But they're hanging over your head. If you violate any part of your sentence, if you miss even one day of community service, if you drive even once during your suspension, if you fail to complete your essay or attend the victim impact panels, if you show any disrespect to Nurse Chen or anyone at the hospital, if you do anything at all that violates the terms of the sentence, you will serve all 90 days. No appeals. No second chances. You'll go straight to jail. Do you understand? Yes, Victoria whispers. Yes, Your Honor. That leaves 5 days, Judge Caprio says. Those 5 days you will serve immediately. Starting today. Right now. You will spend 5 days in the Providence County Correctional Facility. 5 days to think about what you've done. 5 days to understand that you are not special. That you are not above the law. That actions have consequences. 5 days, Victoria repeats. She sounds numb. In shock. Bailiff, Judge Caprio says. Take Ms. Ashford into custody. The bailiff approaches. He's holding handcuffs. Victoria sees them. Her eyes go wide. No, she says. No, you can't. You can't handcuff me. Not here. Not in front of everyone. I absolutely can, Judge Caprio says. And I am. Maybe it will teach you some humility. The bailiff reaches for Victoria's wrist. She pulls back. Please, she begs. Please don't. I'll go. I'll go willingly. Just please don't cuff me. The bailiff looks at the judge. Judge Caprio considers for a moment. Then he nods. No handcuffs. For now. But if she causes any problems, you cuff her immediately. Yes, Your Honor, the bailiff says. Victoria stands up. Her legs are shaking. She's still crying. Mascara everywhere. Her perfect image completely destroyed. Ms. Ashford, Judge Caprio says. One more thing. She turns to face him. Waiting. Your father called my office this morning, the judge says. Before court. He wanted to speak with me. I told him no. But he left a message. Would you like to know what he said? Victoria nods. Unable to speak. He said, please, Judge Caprio. Do what's right. Teach my daughter what I failed to teach her. Show her that actions have consequences. I love her, but she needs to learn. Please don't go easy on her because of who I am. Do what you would do for anyone else. Victoria's face crumples. She bends forward, sobbing. her whole body shaking. Your father loves you, Judge Caprio says. But even he knows you need this. Even he knows you've gone too far. When you get out in 5 days, I suggest you have a long conversation with him. About respect. About gratitude. About privilege and responsibility. About what it means to be a good person, not just a wealthy one. The bailiff takes Victoria's arm. Gently but firmly. She doesn't resist. She lets him guide her toward the side door. The door that leads to the holding cells. The door that leads to jail. As she reaches the door, she turns back. She looks at Linda Chen. I'm sorry, she says. Her voice is raw. Broken. I'm so sorry. Linda Chen doesn't respond. She just looks at Victoria. No forgiveness in her eyes. Not yet. Maybe someday. But not today. Victoria disappears through the door. The courtroom sits in stunned silence. Then, slowly, people start to talk. Whispers at first. Then louder. Then someone starts clapping. Then another person. Then another. Soon the whole courtroom is applauding. Applauding Judge Caprio. Applauding justice. Applauding the fact that for once, privilege didn't win. Judge Caprio bangs his gavel. Order, he says. But he's smiling a little. Just a little. This court is adjourned. People file out slowly. Talking. Replaying what they just saw. What they just heard. This will be the talk of Providence for weeks. Months even. Linda Chen stays seated. She's still processing. Still trying to understand what just happened. A woman approaches her. It's the prosecutor, Angela Morrison. Ms. Chen, Angela says. Are you okay with this? With supervising her community service? Linda thinks for a moment. Then she nods. Yes, she says. I think it's exactly what she needs. She needs to see what we see. Feel what we feel. Understand what we understand. It won't be easy, Angela warns. She's going to be difficult. Resentful. Angry. I know, Linda says. But maybe, just maybe, we can reach her. Maybe we can show her a different way. A better way. You're more forgiving than I'd be, Angela says. I'm not forgiving her, Linda corrects. Not yet. She hasn't earned that. But I'm willing to give her a chance. We all deserve a chance. 5 days pass. Victoria Ashford sits in a jail cell. It's small. 8 feet by 10 feet. A concrete bed with a thin mattress. A metal toilet. A sink. Gray walls. The smell of bleach and despair. No phone. No internet. No designer clothes. Just an orange jumpsuit. Number 847932 on the back. She's not Victoria Ashford, Senator's daughter. She's just another inmate. She doesn't sleep much those 5 days. She thinks. A lot. About Linda Chen. About Marcus Thompson. About the boy who died. About his dreams. About his mother. She thinks about Officer Ramirez. About how she treated him. How she threatened him. She thinks about Judge Caprio's words. Every single one. They replay in her mind on a loop. On the morning of the 6th day, the cell door opens. Ashford, a guard, says, "You're being released." Victoria steps out. She's processed. Given back her clothes. Her Chanel blazer is wrinkled. Her Louboutins are scuffed. She doesn't care. She just wants to leave. Her father is waiting outside. Senator Richard Ashford. He's 58 years old. Gray hair. Distinguished. He's wearing a suit. Navy blue. American flag pin on the lapel. When he sees Victoria, his face crumples. Relief and sadness mixed together. "Dad," Victoria says. She runs to him. Hugs him. She's crying again. "Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Richard Ashford holds his daughter. "I know," he says. "I know, sweetheart. But sorry isn't enough. You need to show it. You need to prove it." "I will," Victoria promises. "I swear I will." "Tell me what you learned," her father says. They're sitting in his car now. He's driving. She's in the passenger seat, where she'll be for the next year, since she can't drive. "I learned I was wrong," Victoria says. "About everything. About people. About privilege. About what matters." "Be specific," her father presses. "What exactly were you wrong about?" Victoria takes a deep breath. "I thought money made me better than other people. I thought because you're a senator, because we have money, that meant I was special. Important. Above the rules. But I'm not. I'm just lucky. I didn't earn any of it. I was just born into it." "Go on," her father says. "I thought people who work regular jobs like nurses and police officers, I thought they were beneath me. Like they didn't matter as much. But they're the ones who matter most. They're the ones who keep the world running. They're the ones who save lives. And I almost killed one of them because I was too selfish to call an Uber. Richard Ashford nods. He's crying too now. Quiet tears. I failed you, he says. Your mother and I, we gave you everything. But we didn't teach you the most important things. About respect. About gratitude. About responsibility. We failed you, and that's on us. No, Victoria says. It's on me. You told me. Mom told me. I just didn't listen. I thought I knew better. But I didn't. I don't. They drive in silence for a while. Then Victoria speaks again. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything, he says. Why did you tell Judge Caprio not to go easy on me? Richard Ashford pulls the car over, parks on the side of the road. He turns to face his daughter. Because I love you, he says. And because I knew if he went easy on you, you'd never learn. You'd never change. You'd keep making the same mistakes. Hurting people. Hurting yourself. Eventually, you'd do something that couldn't be fixed. Kill someone. Destroy your life. I couldn't let that happen. But 5 days in jail, Victoria says. You let me go to jail. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, her father admits. Knowing you were in there. Scared. Alone. Every instinct I have as a father screamed at me to fix it. To make some calls. To get you out. But I didn't. Because that's what I've always done. Fixed your problems. Cleaned up your messes. And it made you think you could do anything without consequences. I had to stop. I had to let you face the music. Victoria reaches over. Takes her father's hand. Thank you, she says. I know that doesn't make sense. Thanking you for letting me go to jail. But thank you. I needed it. I needed all of it. 2 weeks later, Victoria Ashford walks into Rhode Island Hospital. It's 5:45 a.m. Saturday morning. She's wearing scrubs. Basic blue scrubs. No designer labels. No jewelry. Her hair is in a simple ponytail. No makeup. She looks like everyone else. Just another person coming to work. She finds the ER. Takes a deep breath. Walks through the doors. Linda Chen is there. Waiting. She's at the nurse's station. Writing notes in a chart. Ms. Chen, Victoria says. Her voice is quiet. Respectful. I'm here for my community service. Linda looks up. Studies Victoria for a moment. Looking for signs of the arrogant girl from court. Looking for defiance. Attitude. But she doesn't see any. At least not now. Good morning, Victoria, Linda says. You're on time. That's a good start. Yes, ma'am, Victoria says. First rule, Linda says. In this ER, I'm not ma'am. I'm Linda. Or Nurse Chen. Second rule, you do exactly what I tell you when I tell you. No arguments. No complaints. Third rule, you treat every patient with dignity and respect. No matter who they are. Homeless person or CEO. They're all people. They all deserve care. Understand? Yes, Victoria says. I understand. Good, Linda says. Let's get started. Room 7 needs to be cleaned. Patient just discharged. You'll find cleaning supplies in the utility closet. Gloves are next to the sink. Strip the bed. Wipe down every surface. Mop the floor. Make it spotless. Victoria nods. She walks to the utility closet. Finds gloves. Finds cleaning spray. Finds a mop. She's never mopped a floor in her life. She's never cleaned a room. There's always been people to do that for her. Maids. Housekeepers. Service workers. She thinks about that. About the fact that she looked down on the very people who made her life comfortable. Who cleaned her messes. Who served her. And she feels ashamed. She walks into room 7. The bed is unmade. Sheets are stained. With what? She doesn't want to know. The floor has footprints. Dirt. Something that might be blood. The bathroom is worse. Much worse. Victoria's stomach turns. She wants to walk out. To call her lawyer. To say this is beneath her. But she doesn't. Because it's not beneath her. That's the lesson. Nothing is beneath anyone. Work is work. It all matters. She pulls on the gloves. Gets to work. It takes her an hour. An hour to clean one room. When she's done, she's sweating. Her back hurts. Her hands smell like bleach through the gloves. Linda comes to inspect. She looks around the room. Checks the bathroom. Runs her finger along the windowsill. Nods. Good job, she says. Now do room 9. Then room 12. Then room 15. We're busy today. We've got 6 more rooms that need cleaning. Victoria's eyes widen. 6 more rooms. 6 more hours of scrubbing. mopping. But she doesn't complain. She just nods. Yes, Nurse Chen. By noon, Victoria's exhausted. More tired than she's ever been. Her manicure is ruined. There's bleach on her scrubs. Her ponytail is falling out. But there's something else. Something unexpected. She feels useful. Like she's actually contributing something. Something real. She's taking a break. Sitting in the staff break room. Drinking water. When Linda walks in. How you holding up? Linda asks. Tired, Victoria admits. But okay. Good, Linda says. I need you to come with me. I want to show you something. Victoria follows Linda through the ER. They stop outside a room. Room 22. Through the glass, Victoria can see a young man. Maybe 20 years old. He's in a hospital bed. His leg is in a cast. His face is bruised. A woman sits next to him, holding his hand, crying. That's Daniel, Linda says quietly. He's 21. College student at Providence College. Last night, he was walking home from the library. Crosswalk. Green light. He was following all the rules. A car ran the red light. Hit him. Shattered his leg. Fractured his pelvis. He'll live, but he'll need months of physical therapy. Might never walk normally again. That driver. Drunk. Just like you were. Victoria stares through the glass. At Daniel. At his mother. At the pain. The fear. The uncertainty. That could have been Ms. Chen, she whispers. Yes, Linda says. That could have been me. Or it could have been Marcus Thompson. But worse. Marcus didn't survive. Daniel will. He's lucky. But his life is changed forever. Because someone made a selfish choice. Victoria can't look away. Can I talk to him? Why? Linda asks. I need to, Victoria says. I need to tell him I'm sorry. Not for what happened to him specifically, but for what I almost did. For the fact that I could have caused this. I need him to know that I get it now. I understand. Linda considers. Then she nods. Come on. They walk into the room. Daniel's mother looks up. Suspicious. Protective. Who are you, she asks. Mrs. Foster, Linda says gently. This is Victoria. She's doing community service here. She's learning about the consequences of drunk driving. I thought maybe Daniel would be willing to talk to her. Daniel looks at Victoria. You drove drunk, he asks. Yes, Victoria says. She doesn't make excuses. I did. On New Year's. I almost hit someone. Almost killed her. Just like whoever hit you. And you're here cleaning the ER? Daniel asks. That's your punishment. Part of it, Victoria says. I'm also in jail. Well, I was. 5 days. And I have to write essays. Attend panels. A lot of things. But yes, I'm here. Cleaning. Learning. Trying to understand what I almost did. Daniel's mother speaks. Her voice is hard. Cold. Do you understand? Do you really? I'm starting to, Victoria says. I see the pain. Yours. Daniel's. The nurses who work here. The people who clean up the messes that drunk drivers make. I see it now. And I'm ashamed. I'm so ashamed. Ashamed doesn't help my son walk, Mrs. Foster says. No, Victoria agrees. It doesn't. And I can't fix what happened to Daniel. But I can promise you this. I will never drive drunk again. I will never put another person at risk. And I will spend the rest of my life telling people about what I almost did. About Daniel. About Marcus Thompson. About all the victims. I'll make sure my story helps prevent other people from making the same mistake. Daniel looks at his mother. Then back at Victoria. I hope you mean that, he says. I really do. I do, Victoria says. I promise. The weeks pass. Victoria shows up every Saturday and Sunday. 6 a.m. sharp. She cleans rooms. Empties trash. Helps transport patients. Does whatever Linda tells her to do. And slowly she starts to see. Really see. She sees the homeless man who comes in with frostbite. Who has nowhere to go. Who thanks her for bringing him a warm blanket. Who treats her with more kindness than she ever showed people in her old life. She sees the single mother who brings her sick child in at 3 a.m. Who's crying because she can't afford the medication. Who works 3 jobs and still can't make ends meet. Who apologizes for wasting the doctor's time. Who thinks her child's health is a burden. She sees the elderly veteran who comes in with chest pains. Who tells stories about serving his country. Who has medals at home that prove he's a hero. But who can barely afford his prescriptions. Who lives alone because his family doesn't visit. Who thanks Victoria for just listening to him. She sees the teenage girl who overdosed, who almost died, whose parents are devastated, who gets a second chance at life, who promises to do better. And Victoria understands. She got a second chance too. One day, about 8 weeks in, Linda pulls Victoria aside. "I need to talk to you," she says. Victoria's heart sinks. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," Linda says. "The opposite, actually. You've been doing really well. Better than I expected, to be honest. When Judge Caprio first assigned you here, I was angry. I thought you'd be terrible, entitled, lazy. But you're not. You show up. You work hard. You're respectful. You listen." "Thank you," Victoria says. She's surprised. Linda hasn't given her much feedback. Hasn't been warm. But she's been fair. "I'm still not ready to forgive you," Linda says. "I want to be clear about that. What you did, what you said in court, that hurt. That's going to take time." "I understand," Victoria says. "But," Linda continues, "I do believe you're trying. I believe you're learning. And that's worth something. That's worth acknowledging." Victoria feels tears forming. "I am trying," she says. "Every day. I'm trying to be better. To do better." "Keep trying," Linda says. "That's all any of us can do." 12 weeks in, Victoria is sitting in the break room, writing in a notebook. Her essay. The 5,000-word essay Judge Caprio assigned. She's handwriting it. Blue ink. College-ruled paper. Her hand cramps after the first 1,000 words. But she keeps going. She's writing about Linda Chen. About Linda's life. Her career. Victoria has interviewed her. Long conversations during breaks. About why Linda became a nurse. About the sacrifices she's made. About the patients she's saved. About the ones she couldn't save. About Marcus Thompson, and how that night still haunts her. Victoria writes about Officer Ramirez too. She reached out to him. Apologized. Asked if he'd be willing to talk. He was skeptical at first. But he agreed. He told her about his job. About the dangers. About the abuse he faces. About how people judge him for being a cop. About how he just wants to help people. About how her threats that night made him question whether it was worth it. She writes about the other people she's met. The EMTs who responded to her arrest. The hospital janitor who cleans even dirtier messes than Victoria does. The security guard who keeps everyone safe. The cafeteria worker who feeds the staff. All the people she used to ignore. All the people who make the world work. And she writes about what she learned. That money doesn't make you valuable. Work does. Contribution does. Service does. That the people who make the least money often contribute the most. That privilege is a responsibility, not a right. That she owes a debt to society. A debt she's only just starting to repay. 19 weeks pass. 152 days. Victoria completes her 300 hours. Her last day falls on a Sunday in late May. The weather is warm. Spring has turned to early summer. The ER is quiet. Unusually quiet for a Sunday. Linda calls Victoria into her office. "This is your last day," she says. "I know," Victoria says. She's surprised to find she's sad. She's grown to love this work. To find meaning in it. "You've completed your hours," Linda says. "You've fulfilled your obligation. You're free to go." "Thank you," Victoria says. "For everything. For teaching me. For being patient with me. For giving me a chance when I didn't deserve one." Linda nods. She reaches into her desk. Pulls out an envelope. Hands it to Victoria. "This is for Judge Caprio. It's my report on your service. He asked me to evaluate your performance. Your attitude. Your growth." Victoria takes the envelope. Her hands are shaking. "What did you write?" "Open it if you want," Linda says. Victoria carefully opens the envelope. Unfolds the letter. Reads, "To Judge Frank Caprio, I am writing to report on Victoria Ashford's completion of her court-ordered community service. She was assigned to complete 300 hours under my supervision at Rhode Island Hospital Emergency Room. I am pleased to report that Ms. Ashford exceeded my expectations in every way. She arrived on time for every shift. She completed every task assigned to her. She treated patients and staff with respect. She showed genuine remorse for her actions. She demonstrated real growth and maturity. It is my professional opinion that Ms. Ashford has learned from this experience. She has shown me, through her actions, that she understands the severity of a crime and the impact it could have had. While I have not fully forgiven her for her behavior in court, I do believe she is on a path toward becoming a better person. I recommend that her sentence be considered fulfilled. Respectfully, Linda Chen, RN." Victoria looks up. tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispers. "Thank you so much." "Don't thank me," Linda says. "You earned this. You did the work. You showed up. You changed. That was all you." "Can I ask you something?" Victoria says. "Of course. When I first came here, you said you weren't ready to forgive me. Are you now?" Linda considers the question. Really thinks about it. "Yes," she finally says. "I think I am. Not because enough time has passed. Not because you served your sentence. But because I've seen you change. I've seen you become someone different. Someone better. And that, Victoria, that's worth forgiving." Victoria stands up. She walks around the desk. She hugs Linda. A real hug. Full of gratitude. Full of emotion. Linda hugs her back. "What will you do now?" Linda asks when they separate. "I don't know," Victoria admits. "I've been thinking about it. A lot. I used to think I'd work for my dad's campaign. Or get some easy job in PR or marketing. Something that pays well and doesn't require much. But now, I want to do something that matters. Something that helps people." "Like what?" Linda asks. "I'm thinking about going back to school," Victoria says. "Maybe studying social work. Or public health. Something where I can work with people who need help. Where I can give back. Where I can use my privilege for good instead of just for me." "That's wonderful," Linda says. And she means it. She's genuinely proud. "You'll be good at it. You have empathy now. You didn't before. But you do now. And that's the most important thing." 3 days later, Victoria walks back into Providence Municipal Court. It's a review hearing. Judge Caprio wants to see her. Wants to hear about her community service. Wants to make sure she's followed all the terms of her sentence. Victoria is nervous. More nervous than she was the first time. Because this time, she cares. This time, she respects the court. Respects the judge. Respects the process. Case 2025, TR 94612, the clerk calls. Follow-up hearing for Victoria Ashford. Victoria approaches the bench. She's wearing simple clothes. Jeans. A white button-down shirt. Flats. Her hair is down. Natural. No excessive jewelry. No designer labels visible. She looks like a completely different person from the girl who walked in 5 months ago. "Ms. Ashford," Judge Caprio says. "Good to see you again." "Good to see you too, Your Honor," Victoria says. And she means it. "I've received reports from a hospital," Judge Caprio says. He's holding Linda's letter. "I've received your essay. I've confirmed your attendance at the victim impact panels. By all accounts, you've completed every requirement of your sentence. Is that accurate?" "Yes, Your Honor," Victoria says. "Tell me," Judge Caprio says. "What did you learn?" Victoria takes a deep breath. This is it. This is her chance to show that she's changed. That it wasn't just an act. That it was real. "I learned that I was living in a bubble," she begins. "I thought the world revolved around me. Around my wants. My needs. My schedule. I never thought about other people. About their lives. Their struggles. Their worth. I treated people like they were beneath me. Like they existed to serve me. And that was wrong. So wrong." Judge Caprio nods. "Go on." "I learned that the people I look down on, they're the heroes," Victoria continues. "The nurses like Linda Chen. The police officers like Officer Ramirez. The people who clean hospitals and drive ambulances and teach children and fight fires. They're the ones who matter. They're the ones who hold society together. And I owe them everything. We all do." "What else?" Judge Caprio prompts. "I learned that privilege is a responsibility," Victoria says. "I have money. I have opportunities. I have a platform because of who my father is. I used to think that made me special. Better. But it doesn't. It makes me responsible. Responsible to do good. To help people. To use what I have for more than just myself." "And will you?" Judge Caprio asks. "Will you use your privilege responsibly?" "Yes," Victoria says firmly. "I will. I'm going back to school in the fall. I'm going to study public health. I want to work in policy. I want to help create programs that support service workers, that provide better health care access, that prevent drunk driving. I want to spend my life giving back, making up for what I almost did." Judge Caprio looks at her for a long moment, studying her, looking for signs of deception, of performance. But he doesn't see any. He sees genuine change, real growth. "Ms. Ashford," he says, "I'm going to be honest with you. When you left here 5 months ago, I wasn't sure you'd make it. I wasn't sure you'd complete your service. I thought you might pay someone to do it for you, or convince your father to intervene, or just give up and accept the jail time. But you didn't. You showed up. You did the work. You proved me wrong. And that, Victoria, that's impressive. Victoria feels a weight lift off her shoulders. A weight she didn't even realize she was carrying. I am officially closing this case, Judge Caprio says. You have fulfilled all requirements of your sentence. Your probation is complete. Your record will reflect that you completed your obligations. Congratulations. Thank you, Your Honor, Victoria says. Thank you for everything. For not going easy on me. For giving me the punishment I deserved. For teaching me what I needed to learn. I know it doesn't sound like it makes sense to thank someone for punishing you. But I do. I really do. It makes perfect sense, Judge Caprio says. Because it wasn't punishment for punishment's sake. It was education. It was growth. It was justice in its truest form. Not revenge. Not retribution. But rehabilitation. Transformation. And you, Victoria, you transformed. Victoria's eyes fill with tears. I'm going to make you proud, she says. I'm going to make Linda proud. I'm going to make my father proud. But most importantly, I'm going to make myself proud. I believe you will, Judge Caprio says. Now go. Live your life. Be better. Do better. And remember everything you learned here. I will, Victoria promises. I'll never forget. She turns to leave. Then stops. Turns back. Your Honor, can I say one more thing? Of course, Judge Caprio says. That day in court, Victoria says, when I said all those terrible things. About Linda. About service workers. About thinking I was above everyone. I was wrong. But I was also scared. I've been thinking about why I acted that way. Why I was so arrogant. And I realized I was empty. My life was empty. I had money and clothes and parties. But I had nothing real. No purpose. No meaning. No real relationships. I was a shallow, empty person. And that scared me. So I acted like I was better than everyone. Because deep down I knew I wasn't. I knew I was less. Less meaningful. Less valuable. Less important than people like Linda who actually contribute something. Judge Caprio leans forward, listening intently. But now, Victoria continues, I'm not empty anymore. I have purpose. I have meaning. I know what I want to do with my life. I know who I want to be. And that person is someone who serves. Someone who helps. Someone who makes the world better, not worse. So thank you. Thank you for emptying me out completely. For breaking me down. So I could build myself back up into someone worth being. Judge Caprio smiles. A real smile. Warm and genuine. That, Victoria, is the most mature thing I've ever heard you say. You're going to be just fine. Better than fine. You're going to be great. Victoria leaves the courtroom. She walks out into the Providence sunshine. The sky is blue. The air is warm. She feels lighter than she has in months. Years, maybe. She feels free. Her father is waiting outside. He's been there the whole time. Sitting in his car. Giving her space. When he sees her, he gets out. How'd it go, he asks. It's done, Victoria says. I'm done. I completed everything. I'm proud of you, her father says. He hugs her tight. So proud. Dad, Victoria says. I need to tell you something. What is it? I'm sorry, she says. For how I was. For how I treated people. For embarrassing you. For making you question how you raised me. I'm sorry for all of it. You don't need to apologize to me, her father says. You needed to apologize to Linda. To Officer Ramirez. To yourself. And you did. That's what matters. But I do need to apologize to you, Victoria insists. Because you're a good man. You serve people. You dedicate your life to public service. And I threw that in people's faces. I used your name as a weapon. As a way to get what I wanted. And that was wrong. I disrespected everything you stand for. Richard Ashford has tears in his eyes. You're right, he says. It did hurt. It hurt a lot. But seeing you now, seeing how you've changed, that heals it. That makes it worth it. I want to be like you, Victoria says. Not a senator, necessarily. But someone who serves. Someone who helps. Someone who uses their position for good. Will you teach me? Of course, her father says. I'd be honored. They drive home together. Talking. Really talking. About life. About service. About what matters. It's the best conversation they've had in years. Maybe ever. 6 months later, Victoria Ashford stands in a lecture hall at Brown University. She's a student now. First year in the Master of Public Health program. She's wearing jeans and a brown sweatshirt. Her hair is in a messy bun. She has textbooks in her arms. She looks tired, but happy. Really happy. She's there to give a talk. A guest lecture in a class called Ethics and Public Policy. The professor invited her after reading an article about her case. About her transformation. The article went viral. People all over the country read it. Some criticized her. Said her punishment wasn't enough. Said she only changed because she got caught. But most people were inspired. Most people saw hope in her story. Victoria steps to the front of the room. About 50 students are there. Watching her. Curious. Skeptical. She doesn't blame them. "Hi," she says. "My name is Victoria Ashford. And a year ago, I drove drunk on New Year's Eve. I almost killed someone. And I thought I'd get away with it because my father is a senator." The room is silent. Everyone is listening. "I'm not here to make excuses," Victoria continues. "I'm not here to ask for sympathy. I'm here to tell you what happened when privilege met justice. And what I learned when my world came crashing down." For the next hour, Victoria tells her story. All of it. The arrest. The arraignment. The things she said in court. The text to her father. Judge Caprio's sentence. The 5 days in jail. The 300 hours in the ER. The people she met. The lives she saw. The transformation she underwent. She talks about Linda Chen. About Marcus Thompson. About Daniel Foster. About all the victims of drunk driving. About the real cost of her selfish decision. "I thought I was special," she says. "I thought money and connections made me better than other people. But they don't. They just made me luckier. And luck is a responsibility. It's an obligation to do good. To help people. To use what you have to make things better for everyone, not just yourself." When she finishes, the room erupts in applause. Students stand up. They're moved. Inspired. They ask questions. Good questions. Hard questions. How do we check our privilege? How do we make sure we're serving, not just taking? How do we use our education for good? Victoria answers each one. Honestly. Thoughtfully. Drawing on everything she learned. After the lecture, a young woman approaches her. She's maybe 19. Freshman, probably. "Thank you," she says. "For being so honest. For sharing your story. I come from money too. Private schools. Country clubs. All of that. And I've never thought about it. Never questioned whether I deserve it. But now I am. Now I will." "Good," Victoria says. "That's all I can ask. Just think about it. Question it. And then do something with it. Use your privilege for good." That night, Victoria is back at Rhode Island Hospital. But not for community service this time. She's volunteering. Every week, she comes back. Helps out in the ER. On her own time. By her own choice. Linda is there. She sees Victoria walk in. "You know you don't have to keep coming back," Linda says. "I know," Victoria says. "But I want to. This place changed my life. These people changed my life. I want to give back." Linda smiles. "You're good people, Victoria Ashford. You really are." "I'm trying to be," Victoria says. "Every day. I'm trying." And she is. Every single day. She's not perfect. She still makes mistakes. She still has moments where her privilege shows. Where she says or does something that reveals she's still learning. But she catches herself now. She apologizes. She does better. She volunteers at the hospital. She speaks at schools about drunk driving. She lobbies with her father for better public health funding. She mentors young women from wealthy families, trying to teach them what she learned. Trying to help them avoid her mistakes. She's building a life that matters. A life of service. A life of purpose. A life that makes a difference. Judge Frank Caprio sits in his chambers. Evening now. The courthouse is quiet. He's reviewing case files. Preparing for tomorrow. On his desk is a folder. Victoria Ashford's case. Closed. Complete. But he keeps it there. As a reminder. Of why he does this job. Of what justice can accomplish when it's done right. Inside the folder is a letter. From Victoria. She wrote it 6 months after her sentence was complete. He reads it sometimes. When he's tired. When he questions whether any of this matters. "Dear Judge Caprio," it begins. "I am writing to tell you that you changed my life. Not just with your sentence. Not just with your words. But with your belief that I could be better. You saw potential in me when I didn't see it myself. You gave me consequences, yes. But you also gave me a chance. A chance to learn, to grow, to transform. And I took it. I took that chance and I ran with it. I am now studying public health. I am volunteering. I am serving. I am trying every day to be the person you believed I could be. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for showing me that privilege is a responsibility, not a right. Thank you for teaching me that justice isn't about punishment. It's about rehabilitation. It's about giving people the tools to be better. You gave me those tools. And I promise you I will use them well. With deepest gratitude, Victoria Ashford. Judge Caprio closes the folder. He takes off his glasses, rubs his tired eyes. Tomorrow there will be more cases, more defendants, more chances to make a difference. Some will learn, some won't. Some will transform, some will return. That's the reality of justice. It doesn't work every time. But when it does, when you see real change, real growth, real transformation, it makes everything worth it. Victoria Ashford was one of the success stories. One of the ones who got it, who changed, who became better. And for Judge Frank Caprio, that makes 32 years on the bench worth it. That makes every hard decision, every tough sentence, every difficult moment worth it. Because justice isn't about revenge. It's not about making people suffer. It's about teaching, growing, transforming. It's about taking someone who made terrible choices and showing them there's a better way, a different path, a chance to be more than their worst moment. Victoria Ashford is proof that it works. That justice, when done with wisdom and compassion and firmness, can change lives, can save lives even, and that's what matters. That's what it's all about. Money can buy many things. It can buy cars and clothes and fancy lawyers. It can buy comfort and status and opportunities. But it cannot buy character. It cannot buy empathy. It cannot buy respect. Those things you have to earn. Through work. Through service. Through learning what really matters. Victoria Ashford learned that lesson. The hard way. The painful way. But she learned it. And now she's teaching it to others. Using her story to prevent others from making her mistakes. Using her privilege, finally, for good. That's redemption. That's transformation. That's justice. And in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, justice isn't just blind. It's equal. It's fair. And it's absolutely for everyone. No matter who your father is.